understand this. But not to lose track of the subject matter that we're dealing with right here concerning this Jesuit Virgo Mary, you understand, versus the true black maiden Mariam, you understand, and the effect, or really the defect, that this has caused on many black women. This is the chief weapon that is used, you understand, in this spiritual warfare, you understand, that not just disempowers, but that has gone to create an inferiority among black women. What we see black women today are so-called being whiter than white women. You understand? Black women today, you know, a couple of years ago, back in the late 80s and early 90s, it seemed as though there was some real black culture. People were becoming proud to be black again and getting more into the natural, you understand, proud of one's natural black African traits. But now we see these blonde wigs and all these other, I'm just picking on blonde wigs, you know, but the good hair thing kind of tells you there's a certain sickness, there's a certain hatred of how the Almighty created us, because our religion and spirituality has gotten disorientated. You understand? And the major weapon in that disorientation, because you know what images do. You understand? You should know what images. If you don't learn, study up on images and art. I mean, the basic place to look at it in media, mass marketing and advertisement. These images, especially this particular image, has been used, you understand, as one of the chief weapons against true and authentic, the Rite Hymenot and Tewahedo Christina, and the true that true remnant of ancient Christianity, the last surviving of those ancient African and black churches, which is the Ethiopian church. You understand? Which right now is being threatened both internally and externally. You understand? But one of the things that need to go on, if a reformation should come on, the reformation should destroy and get rid of these idolatrous images. You understand? Because when you deal with this Jesuit Virgo Mariam, you're actually dealing with the infamous Ashtaroth and the Queen of Heaven. And the Ashtaroth actually is the plural, but the singular is Ashtar or Esther. But not our Esther, but their Esther, because our Esther is the black Esther. There's a big difference. You understand? So when we're talking about the white Virgo Mary, you understand? We're talking about the modern day Ashtaroth. You understand? The modern day Ashtaroth worship. You understand? Which basically means that the black woman, you understand, and the Ethiopian woman is no longer really proud of her blackness, but the more that she can be other than who she is, you understand, who she has been created in God's what? Image. But if this is the mother of God, think about it. If black woman, and we haven't even touched on black men, the effect that such an image has on black men, you understand, as well. It determines their choices, determines who they think is a good mother. This is why motherhood and fatherhood among black people is so much in question. It goes back to these very images. Which image is the image, you understand, of your mother? You understand? If your mother is white and you have a white Virgin Mary, I guess that doesn't do you too much. It's not truthful in the sense of who the Bible and who you say the religion or the Christianity in truth is should be referring to. But just if you want to have that picture there because it reminds you of your own mother and you're white and your mother looks like that, no problem. But if you're black like an Ethiopian and you have replaced this image, right, this true image, this oldest image, this Ethiopic black, this then go to Mariam image, black maiden Mariam image with the white or the Euro or the Romano, the Roman. I mean, and we don't even want to, do we really want to talk about Lucretia? That how this image of this particular woman is none other than Caesar Borgia's, either his lover or his sister, or maybe both, because they were like a Caligula family. And this is actually Lucretia. This is actually Lucretia. Caesar Borgia is a family. So modern Christians and Ethiopians are worshiping the Borgia family as God and the family of God. My God. No, they're not my God. You see, we have to overcome this. But this is interesting, because I knew I recognized her from somewhere. And I was trying to find out, well, who. This is during the Middle Ages. These paintings were painted, and this is also the chief painting of the Jesuit order. This is their order. It's like right now we have a Rastafari brotherhood, and we say that image over there becomes the chief image of our order. And then other places that we had influence in, they also have the same image or a similar image to that. That will basically show that they are also part of our co-fraternity or confraternity. They are part of our commonwealth, part of our order, or under our order. They're basically submissive. They have submitted to our mother. They recognize that we are God. So when you really start to then look at the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, these images, what they really are doing, subconsciously and subliminally, because on the spiritual level, it doesn't matter if you know this or not, really. It really doesn't matter. On the spirit, it's like they say in the court, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. For example, you're running, you know the floor is wet and slippery. You understand? You're ignorant that you're not doing it on purpose, but that doesn't prevent you from falling. That doesn't prevent you from falling. You can't say, I don't know, how come I fell? I didn't know about this. It's not like I wanted to fall. People will say you're crazy. So some people will say, well, you know, to me, this image is, well, it really doesn't matter what this image is to you. Like what we're saying doesn't apply to you unless you're a white person. You understand, a European, and that image actually looks like your mother, and that image, that child looks like you or your brother or something like that. Then okay, well then I guess it makes sense. You know, it's like looking in the mirror for y'all. But then when the Ethiopian now looks at this picture and he's looking in the mirror, what's the first thing that Ethiopian or Ethiopic, Hebrew or black person sees? They basically see a shortcoming. They basically see a deficit. They basically see that something is missing. So you have to understand the mind control. We talk about MK Ultra and mind control. This is one of the heights of mind control right here. These images. And when we was reading up on Ethiopia, even under the Eurocentrist pseudo-false pseudonym of Abyssinian, we came across, I think it was James Bruce or one of them, talking about how the cheap flooding of Ethiopia with these images have irreparably damaged, or it might have been Wallace Budge that was talking about, damaged the native art, the rich native art. In other words, have you seen real Ethiopian paintings prior to and before the influx of the Jesuit Virgo Mary or the Jesuit Roman, Euro, white Virgo Mary, which is none other than Ashtaroth, the so-called goddess of heaven? The goddess of heaven. Go look in the Old Testament what Yahweh says about the goddess of heaven, how we should disabuse, you know what I'm saying, the so-called goddess of heaven. You understand that, how we should not bow down to her. And then now go look at the careless Ethiopians. Look what's happened to Ethiopia, the last standing, the last remaining of those ancient African black churches. And when you recognize there was black churches all up and down from Egypt, all the way down to what we know today as modern Ethiopia, and even in some regions spread out in pockets beyond there, as well as all through Arabia. All through Arabia. So when lecturers like Walter Viet in his Catholicism and Islam, a very good documentary to check out. I think I saw it on VO or something like that. Walter Viet. V-I-E-T-H, Walter Viet. He did a documentary on Catholicism and Islam. I don't know if that's the exact title, Catholicism and Islam, but it was about Catholicism and Islam, to really prove and show that when you really look at Islam, Catholicism seems to have a very strong and important role behind the scenes in how they seem to work together against black people and against indigenous and ancient true Christianity, or Tewahedo Christina, or black Christianity, or that African Christianity that was being practiced throughout the so-called Middle East, Arabia, and all up and down from Egypt to the Horn of Africa. This particular Christianity was being practiced, and the only remaining